afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jason Crawford. I'm the Director of Membership and Industry Relations at Food and Beverage Ontario and part of the CareersNOW team. I'd like to introduce my partner in crime, so to speak, Luis Garcia from MPO. Luis, I'll let you do your introduction on yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Luis Garcia, and I'm the Director of the Center for Meat Innovation and Technology, which is an initiative of Meat and Poultry Ontario in collaboration with University of Guelph. Excited to be here and looking forward to learning a lot about the topic of recruiting and retaining new Canadians.
Thanks, Luis. Before we get into introductions with our panel or our presenters today, I'm just going to open up my presentation. So again, thank you again for joining us for the Employer Mentorship Series. This is a new series as part of our CareersNOW program. Previous years, we have had we've done employee mentorship sessions. This is the first time we've done employer mentorship sessions. So Luis and I are working on a series of their 6 mentorship sessions. This new series is designed to provide a small group of employers with the best practices and latest insights from leading experts on recruitment, retention, and workplace culture. And the idea is to keep it small so that if you have questions, we're able to answer them in a roundtable format. We were also inviting panelists. So today we have Nancy Slowski from Give and Go, who's got some great experience in this. So just to give you a heads up, January, we've got 2 webinars we'll be doing. What you need to know for successful hiring and recruiting of Gen Z, or as my grandkids say, Gen Z, because they're Americans, and recent grads. Hiring people with disabilities, what you need to know. February, improving equity, diversity, and inclusion, a complete guide. We have Farah Muhammad book for our Inclusive Leadership Forum, and we think this is a great tie-in for Indigenous people and workforce, and the ROI of hiring college and university students. So just to go back a little bit, the agenda for today will be Luis and I have already done the welcome. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on some research that we did as part of the CareersNOW program. Then we'll have JVS, Irene Vaksman from JVS will talk about their experience with new Canadians. And then we have Samantha Mizzau from Goodwill Hamilton, who will share her experience and what they do at Goodwill Hamilton. And then we'll get into a Q&A with our panel. So just one stat that I wanted to share. The Food Processing Skills Canada produced a report back in 2021 called At the Crossroads to Greatness. And one of the things they found which was interesting that I found was, and again, I'll go down a couple of sentences, but men make up 60% of the workforce and immigrants 31%, an representation when compared to only 23% of the overall labor force. Our sector has a higher percentage of new Canadians in it than any other sector, and I think that speaks to our sector and the companies that we have. So I wanted to share some survey results. As part of the CareersNOW program year 3, which we're in, we hired a research firm to do some research on not just new Canadians, but also youth and as well those looking to change careers. So just some facts, and again, we can share this with you, and this will be it's going to be recorded, so you'll be able to see it as well. New Canadians, what they found was 2 of the largest cohorts are South Asian and Chinese. Important point on culture, Chinese takes the best parts of Canadian culture and integrate into their own. They identify as Chinese Canadians. South Asians embrace Canadian culture while retaining aspects of their ethnic culture. They identify as Canadians. Today, the majority of immigration from China is mainland, not Hong Kong. They tend to be the upper strata of Chinese society. South Asians tend to arrive from mid to lower case. Aside from these cohorts, Canada accepts a wide range of refugees other than migrants. Some refugees are economic or social migrants. Others are displaced migrants. They won't have a card. Although refugees and displaced migrants often ultimately return to their home country, overall, they are less transactional in seeking a job than Caucasian Canadians can be. And again, this is through our market research. This is not Jason Crawford. So the following slide in a second I'll show you shows that virtually all the desired workplace employment characteristics are the same for new Canadians as for others. They are all heightened some significantly. This tells us a few things. New Canadians seek stability, appreciate the circumstances that brought them here. Part of stability for many is being in a union. In many source countries, unions don't exist. They rate inclusivity higher for several reasons. First, it's a fear on coming to Canada. Second, they cite experiences with old school supervisors and managers who may demonstrate over microaggressions towards them. The meaning of mentorship for new Canadians is broader. They need not just job mentorship, but Canada mentors as well. And this study, and again, I'll send this out to everybody so you have it, but just some interesting stats. And again, when we looked at the questions that they were asked, so everything from having a career that's recession-proof to pay to being a part of an industry that makes a difference. And again, scored very, again, they're rated on a 1 to 5, again, rated generally higher than the overall average. Again, I'll send this out to everybody so you have it. And again, it's just some background that we did. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Irene. And Irene, I'll let you share your screen.
Okay, so welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. So my name is Irene Vaksman. I'm the Vice President of Stakeholder Engagement at JVS Toronto. And I will tell you a little bit more about how to attract and retain new Canadians from the perspective of working with community-based organizations, nonprofit employment-based organizations that work with newcomers to Canada, and what this work looks like, and how we can together make newcomers more welcome and more integrated into the workplaces. So just a little bit of history of JVS Toronto. We are just one example. There are lots of organizations like us. We are one of the oldest organizations in the Greater Toronto area with a pan-Canadian reach. So we've been in the sector for over 77 years, helping immigrants from all over the world come to Canada and integrate into various types of employment. But our reach as an organization is wider than just newcomers. So we have a vast newcomer services department, which is funded by all levels of government to ensure that newcomers who are coming into the country receive the relevant support in order for them to be able to hit the ground running and get into the workplace. So this ranges from pre-arrival programs, which are quite new, and they have been funded for the past 8 years or so, where the federal government is actually funding programs to orient newcomers into the labor market before they even get into Canada. And I think, and I will touch upon it later in my presentation, but I think this aspect might be of particular interest to many employers, particularly in the food and beverage sector, where you can tap into newcomer talent pre-arrival before people are even getting here. We also have bridge training programs, sector-specific language training, job search workshop for newcomers. So any types of supports that actually equip new immigrants with knowledge and with understanding of the requirements of the local labor market, and give them some perspective in terms of not only how to get a job, but also how to plan their career and how to plan their integration and feeling as part of the society and feeling part of the employment society as well. In addition to various newcomer services, we also have what Jason mentioned in the series of mentorship sessions. So we work with various equity-seeking groups, including youth, racialized communities. We also have employment Ontario centers. These centers are open to everyone who is looking for a job, so not necessarily newcomers only. We have mentoring services, career counseling. We work with refugees. We have training programs, so a whole array. And like what I mentioned at the beginning, there are lots of other organizations who might focus on different types of newcomers or different ethnic communities. So it's an interesting avenue for employers to explore, and I will talk about it more in my presentation. So these are some of our locations around the Greater Toronto area, and as you can see, we're pretty widespread over the 77 years of our existence. So these are some of the stats of, just from the past year, what we were able to accomplish. So over 16,000 individuals were served by us, and this means job seekers from all walks of life, and the majority of those are newcomers to Canada. You can see some stats around our mentorship programs. This is a very interesting avenue also to attract talent into your workplace by engaging your employees and becoming mentors for newcomers and sharing their perspective and their expertise with people who are new here and who are exploring different opportunities. We have served specifically in sector-specific programs, hundreds of internationally educated professionals in some sector-specific programs, including architecture, including healthcare, including skilled trades, and some other occupations, and occupation-specific job search support, lots of workshops that people can attend. So basically a wide range of services. So I will now dive into how to attract and retain new Canadians into your workplace. And I think the first step that we need to pay attention to is understanding what new Canadian talent actually means. So first and foremost is developing an understanding of the fact of diversity of the newcomer workforce in Canada. Some of the statistics shared by Jason speak loudly to the fact that we have diversity, but do we really understand what this diversity really means? And this oftentimes means the expectations that various diverse communities have. And managing those expectations, understanding those expectations, and working together with the diverse newcomers who are coming into our workplaces plays a big role in how successful we're going to be in attracting and retaining those immigrants. I hear from employers many times that when they're successful in hiring a particular ethnic group, they only want to hire immigrants from that ethnic group again. But it only means that they tried something that worked and they want to do more of the same. Yet it always pays off to try the diverse approach and to try to attract people from various backgrounds and bring them into the workplace to enrich the experience. Another important aspect is to look at the skills, qualifications, and experiences that new Canadians often bring. And this speaks to the fact that many times people who apply for jobs, especially in the industry like food and beverage, are so to speak overqualified for the jobs. So how do we look at their credentials, and how do we look at their experience, and how do we create pathways in our workplaces for those people to get in, but then get hope and get a plan in how they can develop and progress, instead of having people remove things from their resume and only focusing on the job that they're coming in for just for today. And we've seen from our experience that this approach from the employer perspective really pays off. You are not only working with these individuals, kind of taking them in for a frontline beginner level job and keep them there, but you rather take them as a whole person, looking at their overall experience from back home and seeing how in the future this person can transition into other roles within your organization and how they may be able to contribute more. And of course, cultural considerations and benefits of a diverse workforce. How ready are we as employers to integrate people from various cultural backgrounds? We are hearing as a community-based organizations, we're hearing from employers, we're not equipped. We are not equipped to have people who are different. We are not set to have people from different religious backgrounds. How do we ensure that they feel comfortable, that they feel welcome? Well, you ensure it by education, by highlighting the benefits of bringing diversity into your workplace, and working on addressing the stigmas that some of the existing employees might have, and some of the resistance that might exist in the workplace. And how to address these things, I will talk about later in the presentation. So attracting new Canadians, where do you find them? This was the question initially. This is the question that I get asked a lot. So identifying the key sources and communities where new Canadians are seeking job opportunities. And a great resource for that could be working with an organization like us. We have a great pipeline of immigrants who are coming into the country, as I mentioned, both pre-arrival. So this means those newcomers who are still sitting in their home country, who were approved for immigration, and who are arriving within the next up to 12 months. But most of the time, they arrive much sooner than that. So just our organization alone serves about 2,000 people a year who have all their papers ready and they're just waiting to immigrate. Speaking of this, I would not say that if you as an employer are looking to primarily hire people for production line type of jobs, these are usually highly skilled immigrants who are looking for professional opportunities. However, raising awareness about opportunities that exist within the companies and within the food and industry sector is something invaluable for newcomers to understand, because many of them are trying to transition and make the exact equivalent transition from what they were doing back home to what they will be potentially doing in Canada, which in many cases is not even possible. So our job as a community service providers is to explain and to bring awareness to newcomers to really explore the local labor market, because some of our newcomers have preconceived ideas of what they're going to be doing in Canada, and the reality is much different than that. So we are seeking and we are working with employers together to bring the needs of the labor market, so to speak, to newcomers so that they understand where the opportunities are and what opportunities to develop a career, not only to get a job, but also to develop a career. For many newcomers who are coming here seeking a better life, it is a very important selling point. So selling not only the job that you have to fill right now, but selling it as a long-term relationship, as a long-term opportunity to become part of a company, to continue contributing to this company, to grow with the company, and to really develop the interest for the sector overall. So effective recruitment strategies tailored to engage and attract new Canadians. What are the selling points? What are some of the perks that your company can offer a newcomer? Do you already have diversity in your workplace? Do you have, as I mentioned, career pathways? Does your organization, does your company offer employment stability? This is a very important factor for many new Canadians, unlike youth, because from our initial conversations in the food and beverage industry, traditionally, we're attracting a lot of youth employees, but they're not necessarily looking for stability. Yet as employers, you're looking for someone who will continue with the company, who will stay with the company. This is a great selling point for new Canadians. For the most part, it's people who are looking for stability and who are looking to contribute and grow within the company. If there's any other interesting factors about your company, about your values, about how you go about your business, might be a good point for consideration. So seeking opportunities to connect with groups of newcomers through partnering with community agency might be a great idea to disseminate what's good about your hiring practices, what's good about your company, how proud you are to be a part of it, and how you onboard people who are like-minded, and creating an appetite and creating an interest in the newcomer community to contemplate and to entertain opportunities in the food and beverage industry. Of course, it's very important to have job descriptions that are inclusive, culturally sensitive, and consider some simplified language for your job postings. We hear time and time again that there's a lot of professional jargon, and as much as many newcomers speak English or French, there might be different acronyms that we use in our job postings, or some jargon words from the sector that we're all used to, but it might sound very very intimidating and to newcomers, and they might not even apply for these jobs if the job posting is not friendly. So taking all of those things into consideration will make our job here easier. So specifically engaging with community organizations that are working with newcomers, such as ourselves, we collaborate with multiple settlement agencies, many of whom are ethno-specific, and as well as cultural associations and immigrant serving organizations. So by creating a partnership with an employment services agency, you don't limit yourself to only that. You are actually opening the door to a whole network of different organizations that operate within this sector of helping onboarding, integrating newcomers. Partnering with these organizations will also help you better understand the needs, skills, and readiness of newcomers for employment, because this is the bread and butter of what we do. We assess newcomers' assets and needs and skills, and we help them create a short-term plan and a long-term plan and tackle the labor market from that perspective. So we are familiar with the gaps, we're familiar with the needs, and if we are familiar with the needs of the employers from a closer perspective, it will be easier for us to direct newcomers to the right employment opportunities. We have, as I mentioned at the beginning, multiple programs that help to vouch for the fact that newcomers are ready, that they understand the importance of soft skills, that they understand the importance of teamwork, that they understand, how Canadian workplace works, because, many newcomers come with their own biases and come with their own ideas and their own agendas. So when they attend workshops, it is kind of a safeguarded preparation, so to speak, for the workplace in a safer environment where they can ask questions that sometimes, they might be reserved to ask in the workplace. So we prepare them, we give them information, and of course it would be much more effective if we could double check this information against the employers, and we're doing it all the time. So it would be great if any of you on this call today, or whoever is going to listen to this presentation, if there are any other questions that we can help integrate into our programming that will be more relevant for your particular workplaces, that is also very much welcome. So we have established relationships, and we have prepared pools of newcomers who already went through all of these interventions, as we call them, who went through all of these pre-employment preparations. Some of them have gone through pre-training, and they can constitute a great pool of suitable candidates. Another thing that we could do together potentially is design programs together with particular employers in mind. So if you have particular pain points when there is a high turnover position or a position for which you're constantly hiring and you're experiencing challenges, this is where we perhaps could join forces and think about a particular program where there's a skill missing or there's some technical training missing, along with soft skill training that's missing, that we could design together and create a pool of candidates for you as a particular employer in need. Needless to say that as a government-funded agency, some of our programs also allow employers not only, and by the way, everything that we are offering, and not only us, all government-funded agencies offer these recruitment services absolutely free of charge. But not only that, we also have access to government-funded training incentives that are aimed at exactly that. They're aimed to help you as an employer overcome the initial training period during which the candidate perhaps is not working in 100% capacity. If there is a language issue, if there is an onboarding situation that takes longer than usual, this is exactly what these training incentives are meant to help overcome. They're not huge, but for some small and medium-sized enterprises, we find that this can be really a good way to overcome some of these barriers and challenges and fears in terms of hiring newcomers. So I know it sounds a little bit too good to be true, and I'm not saying that we do not have challenges ourselves, but we're trying our best. And the good thing about us is that we're open to hear from employers what they need, and then working together on helping develop these strategies. Again, to work with a community partner, a community organization, it's important to align expectations between employers and newcomers regarding the job roles, the workplace culture, and the industry requirements. a lot is assumed. When we talk to newcomers who are coming here, they have lots of assumptions that they come with. And then when they come into the workplace and these assumptions are not being fulfilled, they feel extremely bitter and disappointed, and they fall through the cracks. If we could tackle this situation ahead of time, this requires work, but we need to align our expectations, and we need to make sure newcomers who are entering your workforce understand what they're in for. Creating a mutual understanding of employment pathways within the food and beverage sector. Again, many newcomers have some biases around the jobs that, again, they assume are available in the food and beverage sector, yet the sector is so much larger than that. So even if someone starts at a lower level job, what are the career pathways that they can then attain during time? Or if we're talking about internationally trained professionals, what are some of the other opportunities within the sector that are suitable for internationally trained professionals, where they can enter into the jobs commensurate with their experience and their education from back home. Promoting career growth opportunities within the sector to newcomers and highlighting the diverse roles available and potential career progression. I think I've spoken about it a lot. Looking at the sector as an opportunity to go in and stay and navigate the sector in terms of your career growth and progression as a newcomer, and provide insights into industry-specific skills and competencies that are required. Is there any certification required? Is there anything industry-specific to become successful to obtaining a job? Fostering a clearer understanding for both employers and newcomers when it comes to specific skills. So when we get to the next step, so how do you integrate and onboard newcomers into the workplace so that it's a more effective and a more successful kind of integration? So first of all, purposely thinking about welcoming strategies, how to create a supportive and inclusive workplace culture that is not only on paper, but is also felt on the floor and on the ground, whether there is anything specifically created for newcomers to feel welcome, anything specifically designed within the teams, perhaps a mentor, perhaps a buddy program, or something that will make newcomer more feel that like they're being heard. I'm coming this morning, I was at another presentation, and it was interesting to hear how newcomers are reluctant, or they didn't even know about how to go about career progression. And it was a very eye-opening conversation that happened between another organization and employers that they were working with, that newcomers didn't think that putting themselves forward and speaking to their managers about career advancement was an acceptable practice. Because in other cultures and in other parts of the world, you just wait until your managers pays attention to you and you get to your next career advancement. And many managers that we were talking to and this organization was talking to weren't even aware that that's the case. So, creating those conversations within your organization, understanding what newcomers might be lacking, not in terms of their technical skills, but in terms of these cultural differences, these workplace differences, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, how do you ask for an advancement, what is teamwork, how do you show initiative. All of these things that we take for granted are not necessarily clear to both sides, and each of the sides has its own assumptions, and again, there's no alignment between them. So this is something that we need to take into account and purposely work on bridging those gaps. Cultural orientation and sensitivity training for existing employees. Again, we hear from many employers, our workforce is not ready. So how do you make them ready? By training and by orienting them into the different cultures and how to be more welcoming. Tailoring onboarding processes to accommodate diverse backgrounds. Creating mentorship programs and support programs for newcomers to navigate the workplace and integrate effectively. We at JVS Toronto created online modules for employers on how to create a more inclusive and more welcoming environments for newcomers. We can share them with you free of charge. We created them in consultations with a variety of employers from a variety of sectors. We might also be able to adjust them to your particular needs. So just let us know if this would be of interest. This can help some employers take this first step into understanding how to create more inclusive workplaces for newcomers. And of course, support and development within the company, providing ongoing support, resources, and opportunities for professional development for newcomers so that they don't feel, if they're higher educated than the job that they're in right now, that they feel that, you know, someone knows about it and is purposely working on making sure that they have a professional development plan. And many newcomers will not come forward because it's not part of their culture. So this is something that as employers and as managers, many times employers need to take on. Employee resource groups or networks of new Canadians from within the organization could be another idea. And of course, encouraging cross-cultural interactions and initiatives within the workplace. So in conclusion, one piece of advice: attracting, integrating, and retaining new Canadian talent. There's a huge benefit of working with community-based organizations that already have access to immigrant talent. This is, by the way, how we connected with Give and Go as one of the employers who came to our hiring events. So partnering with community agencies is definitely something that's a lower hanging fruit and you might want to try. And collaboration from within the sector, sharing best practices, sharing some results, and sharing some of the resources and tools that were developed for the ongoing success of recruiting and retaining newcomers to Canada. If you'd like more information, this is our website, and this is my email address if you have any follow-up questions, and I'm also happy to stay for the Q&A if any of you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Irene, for that presentation. That was great. We'll get, I'm sure, some questions for you at the end. So with that, I'm going to introduce Samantha Mizzau from Goodwill Hamilton. Samantha, I will pass it over to you.
Thank you again. Sorry about that. As Jason said, my name is Samantha Mizzau. I am the BDS of Goodwill Hamilton. I have my manager, Soumya, here. She will be my voice, as I said early on. And here, we at Goodwill, we have a number of programs we support. We have employment services where our clients come from refugee camps. They're newcomers to Canada, as well as Canadians alike who are job ready and they want employment right away. We also have a program called FAST, Food and Beverage Accelerated Skills Training. This is where we have the clients come in. We sit with them, we speak with them about the Canadian life. We explain to them what we do in our program, and then after that, we're trained. Soumya will be giving you a presentation on the training, and then we place them with a pool of employers. Our employment services support in different ways. We provide the job seekers with clothing, food, gas cards, whatever they need to be successful for the employer. We also partner with the Afro-Canadian Association and the Newcomer Association of Hamilton. That's where we get 90% of the refugee claimants and newcomers attend our program. This cohort, I would safely say we had 90% joining our program. And out of that 90%, I would say 88%, with the remaining 2% are actively looking for employment. They're in interviews as we speak. So what we do here is really successful. We have weekly networking sessions where I invite them over, and then we just sit and listen to them, because some of them need to be feeling confident. They need to feel comfortable. And I think a lot of them relay to me, being from the Caribbean and being a newcomer to the country as well. They feel comfortable. They open up to me and they share different situations with us. And through that, I get to know them. So when they join our FAST program, it's easy for me to place them with the employers because I know what the employer need and I know what they need. And this is why we have been so successful. Soumya will definitely give you just a little short view of what we do and how we train them. Go ahead, Soumya. Again, sorry about my voice if I sound.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to meet everyone virtually in this forum. And my name is Soumya Gangadharan, and I'm the program manager for the FAST program at Goodwill. FAST is nothing but Food and Beverage Accelerated Skills Training Program. So I have a short presentation. I'm just like Samantha explained, I'm just going to go over what we do at FAST, what are the things we look for, and what are the trainings that are offered, and what kind of supports our participants receive. And Samantha is going to talk more about the employee connection. So she is the point of contact between the job seekers and the employers, making those connections to get them those opportunities. So we support a lot of barriered individuals, people who are, newcomers in the country. So 80%, I would say, of the demographic we target would be newcomers, people without any work experience in Canada who are looking to work. So this would be a wonderful opportunity for them because we make them job ready. We give them the skill set that is required to work in the food and beverage manufacturing sector. And we also train them with soft skills and hard skills throughout 4 weeks of training, and then they are ready to go and work. We place them with an employer who is partnered with us, and they work and they potentially start a full-time opportunity right after they finish the training. So this is a cohort-based program. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen and talk a little bit about it, and Samantha will proceed with the details that are the connections with the employers. So this is just our information session for the Food and Beverage Accelerator Skills Training Program. So like I said, this is a Employment Ontario, Government of Ontario funded program. So we run this for one fiscal year. We run 4 cohorts in a year, and each cohort runs for 4 weeks. And after that, we support with employment for 4 weeks. So a little bit about the program. It's a free program funded by the Government of Ontario, Employment Ontario, and it includes 4 weeks of accelerated skills training to acquire knowledge and earn certifications in the food and beverage manufacturing industry. And it helps gain experience through supported employment with our employer partners, like I explained. And this is because this is a government-funded project. There are financial supports available for any participants who are looking to secure sustainable employment. So we could support them with transportation, safety boots. We also have mental health supports. I know that ever since the pandemic started, this is something that has been widely recognized as something that would benefit, especially anybody who's struggling with some mental health, and this would help them to gain those confidence and believe in themselves to really go after their goals and fulfill their employment goals. So this is through the cognitive behavioral therapy. So we do have we make referrals to some service providers in the community, and we are able to cover costs for their sessions. So there is a budget for that, but this is support. The support is available for any participant who wants to access it. And we also have access to a pool of prominent employers who will potentially offer full-time employment opportunities. So at the end of the 4-week training period, this is what we aim for. We want all our participants hired, placed within a food and beverage manufacturing sector, and they have everything they need. So we make sure that they are supported. So if they require any kind of work clothing, if for example somebody is getting an opportunity to work in a cold and freezer environment, then we provide them with whatever they need to work in that environment. So we make sure that we have them fully supported so that they have everything they need to get started and just go and work, right? Like gain that work experience, which is so essential in fulfilling their employment goals. So what does this program include? So there is a combination of technical skills training and soft skills training in this FAST program. So the technical skills training is offered through a partnership with Mohawk College and Food Processing Skills Canada. So the participants earn up to 9 micro certifications from Food Processing Skills Canada. So we have instructors from Mohawk who lead the workshops. So it is a partnership, and we are successfully in our 3rd year of running this program. So we have established a good partnership with Mohawk College and FPSC. So they have made it possible for us to kind of keep running this program successfully. And certifications that the participants receive, they are nationally and globally recognized within the food and beverage manufacturing sector. And the soft skills training is offered through Goodwill Hamilton. So we have career development specialists, and they work with our job seekers. We conduct workshops, and the focus would be mostly on any soft skills that are pertinent to sustaining in a workplace. So it could be anything with communication, teamwork, like resume writing, interviewing, coaching. We also have some SMEs or subject matter experts. Those sessions are on financial literacy and mental health as well. So those things are there. It's a combination of both soft skills and hard skills, so that our participants are fully equipped with knowledge and skills that they would need to be successful in whatever opportunity comes their way. So technical skills training, I'll keep this short, but these are just the name of the certificates that they would receive at the end of the 4 weeks of training. So this is offered through Food Processing Skills Canada. So all these are really fundamental to working in the food and beverage manufacturing sector. So very, very specific to the industry, and all of this is offered for free, and because this is a government funded program, so it is offered for free. They don't have to pay anything. It's just that they have to attend the 4 weeks of workshop, focus on completing modules and getting these certificates, and then we can find them the opportunities to start working in within the food and beverage manufacturing sector. Eligibility, this is just any individual who is 18 years or older, resident of Hamilton or Halton, and legally entitled to work in Canada. So this is why we see a very huge variety, different streams of we do serve different streams. So that it could be like one cohort serving just newcomers. One cohort could be both Canadians who have had a little bit of gap in their employment, so who would want to return to workforce, or anyone who is who is retired and looking for something to get back into the workforce and start working again to either support their family or for their own fulfillment. So we do have different streams of individuals that we support in the program, because the eligibility criteria is pretty straightforward. Any individual who is 18 years or older, resident of Hamilton or Halton, or legally entitled to work in Canada would be eligible to join this program. So anyone who has that passion for working in this industry, we've had a couple of those individuals join us as well, because they're passionate about working in the food industry and they want to learn about what's happening. So we welcome those participants as well. Soft skills training, like I explained, this is offered through Goodwill Hamilton, and these are just a list of our workshops. And yeah, so pretty much this is what we do in terms of the program. So it is streamlined in such a way that first there is registration, and then we have 4 weeks of skills training, and then we have Samantha, our business development specialist, who works to place our participants or clients within different employers within the food and beverage manufacturing sector. So I'll move it over to Samantha. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Soumya. Yeah, like I said, this is some of the services we provide here at Goodwill. Through the past few months, we've noticed an influx of newcomers coming to Hamilton, whether it is they transition from Toronto or Oakville, but they're coming down to Hamilton to be settled. Most of them lives in tent or in shelters, and they come from word of mouth or through our networking, and I network a lot. The key to gaining these newcomers and anybody wanting to join the workforce is to network. This is what I do heavily. I'm always attending an event, be it Chamber of Commerce, and it's good to keep your ear on the ground. I think a couple months ago, I was invited to a newcomer barbecue where there was almost 300 newcomers. So I specially said, come to our networking at Goodwill. At the end of the day, I was expecting 20. I had 70 people attending this networking. They were all job ready. My manager and the head of department was really shocked because I was shocked because I was not expecting that. And that's to show you they are eager to work. They're willing to go the extra mile. And the difficulty we have had in the past is getting the employer to understand the employee needs. So this is where I do a lot of job carving and getting to explain what we do and getting to explain the reason they're in Canada, and sometimes without giving the full information about the newcomer or any participant in our program, I have to take a hard decision and sit with the employer and say, look, this is what is needed. This is what the employer is facing, the client, is facing, and this is how you can assist them. And we also have a language module where we partner up with Mohawk College. So we train them in the English language so they can be successful. And it's really amazing at the end of the day. We have a success story. This gentleman, he's a newcomer. We place him with a particular company. And right now he speaks fluent English. And he started as a general laborer. And now he's in QA. These are some of the things we can do for the newcomers and anybody wanting to work within Canada and Goodwill. Jason?
Thanks, Sam. Thank you for that presentation, and Sama, thank you very much for the info as well. I've got a few questions that actually processors had asked me prior to this who I was reaching out to who couldn't make this call, but is there anybody who has a question for Sam or Irene? We also have Nancy Slowski on from Give and Go, who's got some experience with hiring new Canadians. So I'll just ask it before I get into my questions, if anybody has any questions themselves. Just raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. Sam, go ahead, Samantha, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jason, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so Goodwill does this for Hamilton and Halton. Are other regions serviced as well? So like would Kitchener-Waterloo have a Goodwill that would do this, or is this strictly for Hamilton
What the
Halton?
program we have is just for Hamilton and Halton for now. There are other Goodwill locations in I know for sure in London, but I don't think they have the program we have here. We don't support anything, but it's only for Hamilton and Halton. We have had some participants all the way from St. Catharines. That's the furthest we've had any clients.
So if we have some processors on the call who aren't in Hamilton or Halton, but are in the vicinity of a drive, would you want them to connect with you as well to find?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. We don't turn down anybody. We're here to support, and we help to fulfill the client needs, and as well as the employers. I have a question for Give and Go. The problem we're facing, like some of us are facing, is getting employers to partner with us. Sometimes it could be difficult because most of them are afraid when they had newcomers, refugees, or older folks. They tend to go back. And what we're seeing is that some of them are placing the ads on Indeed. If we have organizations such as ours, why is it so difficult to fulfill the needs of the employer?
That's a good question. I think it's a broad question. In terms of, I think probably during the pandemic, our TA team, we probably partnered with, we have a list, probably about 30 to 40 different community organizations to try and fill our roles. And I think for some employers, it's realizing sometimes it's a long game. It's not a short game, right? So we still attend a lot of job fairs. We try to participate in different programs. A lot of the programs we participate in, sometimes the candidates or the employees they aren't the right fit for us right now for what we're looking for, depending on what type of opening we have. But we find that by continuing to attend the job fairs and participating in the programs, then we actually do tend to attract a lot of newcomers. So they might not be from your particular program, but overarching, the word gets out. And then we're able to find people who are the right fit. So for us, sometimes it's a certain type of skill that doesn't exist, and it's actually pretty rare in the market. But other than that, I think it's just an education piece. We're a very diverse workforce at Give and Go, very diverse, largely South Asian. So we also had a large number of Ukrainian immigrants that we brought on as well, and from other ethnic backgrounds as well. So we're lucky that we've got pockets in our different plants. We're distributed across the GTA. And our hiring managers reflect the diversity of the communities where our plants are. So I think starting small and trying to convince an organization to take a risk, and realizing that if it doesn't work out the first time, it doesn't mean that you just don't keep trying. And I think that's it. I think a lot of people, okay, that doesn't work. And for us, we try it and we try again. We try a different plant, we try a different role, we try a different supervisor, right, in terms of bringing it in. So I think it's a long game for a lot of employers.
Thanks, Nancy. And Sam, I think part of our research showed that as well, that it's about community within the plants as well, that it's about attracting the community, and again, a community within the company as well. So that's a valid point. Question for you, Irene. You mentioned that the expectation of a lot of new Canadians coming to the country. What is the expectation? Because I think, and Nancy, you could answer this better than I can, but I would think a lot of our jobs are really on the floor jobs, plant jobs, and that's where, I mean, skilled trades as well, but we know there's challenges with getting skilled trades too. But the majority of the jobs that we have probably are on the plant floor. So is the expectation for most new Canadians coming in that you're dealing with that they're coming into a $100,000 a year job, or like what's the expectation that they have? Because again, I think our story at CareersNOW is it's not just a job, it's a career, because you can start, and Nancy, I'm sure has seen this, where you can start on the plant floor, but you can rise through the ranks, and you can have a career at one company. So I guess what is the expectation, and how do we get over that? Because again, we need some people in our plants. So.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think the expectation, and I think Sam would probably also agree with me, the expectation is always to do as well as they can, the best they can, to have a better life. This is the reason that newcomers are coming here and we need to differentiate between the different circumstances. If we talk about economic immigrants who were preparing for their immigration, going through the various screenings, who qualify based on their educational requirements and their experience from back home, they obviously have an expectation, because they say, if the Canadian government selected me, then Canada should give me an equitable opportunity in the labor market. And many times they're disappointed, because they understand, and the reality hits, that while the government does select them for immigration, the government doesn't really take responsibility for ensuring that they will be working in their fields and on the same level where they left things off in their home country. So this is part of the education that needs to happen on our part. And again, we don't want to discourage people. We just want to make sure that they understand that labor market is a market, and as a new person in this market, you need to play so to speak, the game, and you need to realistically evaluate what you bring to the labor market. And many times we have these conversations with newcomers who say, these are my credentials, this is what I'm worth, but totally overlooking what are the opportunities out there. It's not about you can be amazing and your resume can be amazing, but if there's no one hiring for this particular niche or this particular job, unfortunately, with all the credentials and with all the great track record, you don't you can't really get a job at the level of your expectation. And as I said, expectations from our experience are a little bit different where it comes with refugees, and we worked with and still are working with all the different waves of refugees from Syrians. We were very actively involved in Ukrainians and Afghan refugees. And obviously with refugees, there is more flexibility because they're just seeking a safe haven here in Canada, and they're more open to taking the shop floor kind of type of jobs. But again, if people are educated and if they're already here in the country, I think it is our responsibility as employers, as a community, to make sure that we make a plan, that at least we can consider these skills and these talents that are coming here, and not only give them a job without any prospects. I think what newcomers are most fearful of, if they take this frontline job, that they will get stuck in it for the rest of their lives. What are we doing as employers? What are we doing as service providers to help them? If they need to improve their language skills, do we offer that? If they need to understand, get some credentials, do we help them with that? Do they understand what career pathways exist? So I think the biggest fear and the biggest misalignment of expectations is that newcomers think that if they take a frontline job, they will be stuck with it forever. And if we manage to overcome this obstacle and really show our good will in planning their career, that we onboard them for the company. We onboard them as part of our team, and we will do everything in our power to design a suitable career pathway to utilize and to help them develop their skills to as full of a potential as possible, so that they feel that they are part of this system. So I think but overall the expectation is to be a part of something and not to get stuck in a survival job.
Great, thanks, Irene. Last question I had, or point for you, Irene, was you mentioned government training incentives. Would you be able to share with us the links for those incentives? Because I think a lot of processors would, I know there's some available through you, but if there are some that employers can take, benefit of, because again, any way to alleviate some costs, I think is welcome from a lot of us.
Sure. So Employment Ontario is the resource where employers can get linked to organizations that administer the training incentive. Another option for those employers who are looking to create some training for their existing workforce to develop some additional skills, or to provide some training opportunities by a third-party provider. There is a program funded by the provincial government called Canada Ontario Jobs Grant. I can send you all of those links later so that you can disseminate. This also it can happen in partnership with any Employment Ontario Services organization. And one other point that I wanted to make, if anyone on this call or anyone who will be listening to these presentations today, there is more opportunity to design programs and to develop those trainings. And you mentioned skilled trades. We are our organization is growing in the area of skilled trades, and we also noticed a lot of potential with skilled trades and newcomers. Many newcomers underestimate the value of skilled trades, and many of them have experience, but they're not even entertaining going into skilled trades because it's less lucrative than the other credentials that they might have. Yet the labor market is so thirsty for professionals in skilled trades, and there are ways to navigate the system with Skilled Trades Ontario, with the qualifications exams and everything that needs to happen for electricians and millwrights and plumbers and many other skilled trades. And they technically can get a Red C license if they go through the process in a correct way. And our organization has a few programs that help newcomers apply for their licensure and go through the process of obtaining their license. So if there are employers who are looking for particular skilled trades individuals to join their organizations, this is another area where we might be able to help. And we also are able to connect with other organizations such as Goodwill, such as others, in our network, who are working with newcomers, both in skilled trades, both that are looking for kind of frontline beginning jobs, and also newcomers who are highly educated in finance, in HR, in IT, in any other area that might also be of interest to food and beverage manufacturers.
Great. Thank you, Irene. And we're at 2:03. So I want to thank everybody for being on the call. If anybody has any questions as a follow-up for Irene, Nancy, or Sam, please send them to me and I'll be happy to get them over to them. But again, thank you for joining us, and we will be sending out details on our next mentorship session. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.